Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith. Welcome to the Grow Tent, everybody. You have found the best growing channel on YouTube, man. The place where we simplify the approach for you so everyone can learn how to grow. We make it so simple, even I can understand. So I'm going to listen and learn right now.
Woo! Welcome back to the Grow Tent, everybody. We got a fantastic episode for you today. Today we're going to talk about how you can harvest every other month and the simplest way to do it. But first, as always, we got to do the introduction. Guys, remember, we got the best Patreon in the game when it comes to this stuff. Check it out. The link's in the video description below. If you want to grow with the same kind of equipment that I do, well, a lot of it, you can find it at welcometothegrowtent.com. Guys, remember, the episode is sponsored by Mars Hydro. If you guys are looking for a new light or something like that, you use the links in the video description below and then type in the code. Welcome to the WTTGT. Remember to do all capital letters too. I don't know if you have to, but you know, why risk it? You get your extra discount whenever you're checking out. What else we got going on? Guys, remember, I got another channel where I mess with snakes and spiders, and I'm giving away like, I don't know, $10,000+ in baby snakes this year. So if you'd like to come hang out over there, the link for that is in the video description. Also, it's Spartan pythons and tarantulas. Not too much on the tarantulas anymore, but lots on the pythons. We got anything else? Yeah, guys, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the video a ton. Remember to hit that like button if you want to throw a comment. Much appreciated. And I, as always, ask any grow questions you have in the video or in the comment section, and I might make a video on it just like this one. All right, guys, let's get today's episode started. It's we're going to be talking about Perpetual Gardens, and we're going to do a very basic setup and an extremely cheap way to get your perpetual grow going. All right, so let's go. We are back. Welcome back, everybody. As I said earlier, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Always much appreciated to have you here. Listen to old GT talk. I know a lot of you are always like, hey, GT, why don't you put plants in the videos anymore? Well, I did last video. Not very many people saw it because it got shadow banned instantly. Like normally our videos track like up like this, and I put plants in there for less than a minute, and that video tracking was way down here, and it was a beautiful garden. So if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. It's all about clones. All right, so today that's not what we're talking about though. Today we're talking about Perpetual Gardens, and I get probably, I don't know, I would say around 10 questions a week asking about me about what the basics they need for setting up a perpetual garden. And you have a little bit more, initial expense, but it doesn't have to be a ton, because we're going to deal with small environments and small tents, and I can show you how to do this where you're harvesting every other month instead of, plant seedlings, go through veg, go through flower, all in the same area. If you divide this up, instead of buying one big tent, you can this into smaller tents. You can harvest more often, and which means you can try more strains more often. So the first thing, I don't care what we're doing, the first thing we always do is a Mondi dome. It looks like this, and that's going to be our initial station. So our initial station is just going to be the little seedling area, and by having this area, it allows us to start our seedlings in a completely separate place than in our tents. Whereas, even if you're doing the paper towel, the cups, whatever method you're doing, these things are like 50 or 60 bucks. You can get the whole setup, the light, the dome, and the tray. You can get the entire setup for like 60 bucks. It might be more now, not much though. When I bought mine, it was like 50 bucks, but I think they went up to 60, and I think they're still $60. It's literally a Google search away, but they're not that expensive. And you have your first station, your first light, everything that you need is in it, and your station is set up. And this is one way we get to free up space in the bigger areas and have these get think of it as their own little tent. So that's your tent station number one, your seedling area. And their plants are going to stay in there for 4 weeks whenever you're putting your seedlings in. That's a full 4 weeks that they get to stay in that seedling area. Next, we are going to move over. Now, can you upgrade these sizes of tents? Like, oh, I already got a 4x4. I don't want to buy these smaller tents. Of course, you're just going to have to, change the sizes of your other tents. So the first one we're going to do is we're going to start off with your seedling area. That's station number 1. The next area, you're going to get like a 2x2, and that will be your veg room. And then the final station, or our flower area, will be a 2x4, which is, if you've looked at this, the 2x2 is 4 square feet, and the 2x4 is 8 square feet. So you've noticed our veg area is half the size of our flower area. And now we have 3 stations to do this. Now, can you do it with other tents? You're like, well, I already got a 4x4. Okay, we'll get a 2x4 for your veg area. So now you've got a seedling area, a 2x4, and a 4x4. You're like, GT, I got a 10x10. What the fuck are you doing with the 10x10? Would be my first question. But I'm like, okay, well, so now your veg area is a, I don't know, fucking 5x10? Jesus. So, can you do it? Of course. How crazy are you? Do you want to do it? Yeah, that's on. I mean, it's on you. This system works no matter what you're doing. But I'm telling you, you don't need to harvest a 10x10 every other month. Or maybe you do. So now we just have to figure out. This is the part that becomes hard for everybody, because they ask me for exact times on when they need to start what. And the reason that I can't answer that part is because I don't know you as a grower, and we have to figure out your timeline. Like for me, if I am going to put 4 plants in a 2x2, I know I'm not going to veg longer than 2 weeks before I have that 2x2 completely full. Whereas it might take you, I don't know, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I don't know you as a grower. I don't know how much you're going to stunt them, how much you're going to hurt them, or how fast you're going to grow them. I don't know. So you have to work on your timeline, and this takes a little bit of experimentation on your part. I know nobody likes to experiment. You're right. That's everybody's favorite part about this. So you guys should be jumping up and down, because you do have to kind of play with your timelines. And once you kind of get those down, you know seedling stage is 4 weeks. So you got that locked. You're like, station 1 is 4 weeks. I know when I plant those seeds, they stay in there for 4 weeks. That is a guaranteed. You're locked in into that dome, into that small tent 1 for 4 weeks. So you've got that timeline down. And you know flower, that's bam, you've got that locked down. You're 8 weeks in flower. You get that every other month, 4 and 4. That's the second month. You catching on? This is how you're going to get there. The trick is, how long does it take you to veg? And this is why I want everybody to start off with smaller tents instead of bigger tents. Can you do it with bigger tents? Yes, but you have to really increase your plant count to get those shortened veg times down. So you've got your first 4 weeks locked down. And if you're starting with a smaller tent, you can get through your veg time quicker. And if you can get through your veg time quicker, that means you can get into flower quicker. Okay, so now we've got that. You've got a 2x2 with like a TS1000 in it from Mars Hydro. Sponsor plugged. Sponsor plugged. I don't care what light you put in there, but if you're going to use a light, use a Mars Hydro. It's a full spectrum, guaranteed to make your buds bigger and your plants happier. No, whatever, man. It'll help your garden. All right, sponsor done. Okay, so we got that done, and then you got a 2x4. You're like, okay, well, what light do I put in 2x4? Well, of course, you put a Mars Hydro SP 3000. Thanks, guys. They are great lights, but whatever light you have will work for the given space. The lights are going to be the most expensive part of this, because you're going to need, well, the dome already comes with it. Hopefully you already have one tent that you can make out of your one tent. So you already got that light set up. Basically, you just need a smaller tent, usually a veg tent, because everybody always buys the bigger tent first. So you just need that smaller tent. I always think there's my hair sticking off a shadow. Focus, grow tent. You're all over the place today. All right. God, I've been talking 7 minutes already just on this. The other equipment you can save on, instead of having to buy 2 carbon filters. So we talked about the lights. We talked about what size tents you need, and you can use whichever. But is your carbon filters. You don't have to buy a second carbon filter and fan. You can take your carbon filter out of the top of one tent, just set it on the ground in between 2 tents, put a Y on the top of the filter, or the top of the filter and fan, and then have it go to both tents where it pulls the air out and then out the carbon filter. So you don't have to, that is not an extra expense. You will have to buy more fans to cool the area. And if you want to know how to set up your fans, check out my video, how proper airflow is going to increase your yields, and or whatever it was called. I don't remember. I make a lot of videos. So once we've got your veg time figured out, now we know when we need to start our seeds for, so that whenever our flower tent is empty, we have veg plants that are ready. So let's say it takes you 2 weeks to veg. We're just doing this just to keep things simple. So let's say it takes you 2 weeks to veg. So that way you know you have 4 weeks in seedling plus 2 weeks in veg to get your, before your flower tent, before they are ready to go into your flower tent. So the first time you're not going to have anything in the flower tent to slow you down. So that means on your second, because the flower tent's going to be open because you don't have anything to go, you don't have anything in there yet. So on your second run, you're like, okay, well, that's the one I really need. So I need to know when I need to start new seeds before I put them into flower. So if it takes you 6 weeks to get ready to go into flower, and your flower tent is 8 weeks, that means at week 2 of flower, you need to start new seedlings, because then it's going to take you that 6 weeks, which is what your flower has left before it's done flowering. So by the time you go through your 4 weeks of seedling stage, and then your 2 weeks of veg, that will be the exact 6 weeks that it took your flowers to be done and out of there. And guess what? Now that you have done your 4 weeks in seedling and your 2 weeks in veg, that is at 100% canopy coverage in veg. So guess what? They are ready to go into flower. And now that you are in flower, what do? You wait your 2 weeks again and you plant your seeds, because your dome is empty. So you plant your seeds back in your seedling area, and then you can continue on like this. And now you are harvesting every other month. And the nice part about when you do small setups like this is, when you're first starting out, you don't know what strains you like. You want to try them all. And especially because GT tells you don't grow a bunch of different strains at the same time, because it increases the variables, which increases the difficulty of your grow. Now, when you're harvesting every other month, now you can run through a bunch of different strains. And by the time you get finished smoking everything that you grew the last grow, guess what? It's time to bring down another harvest. And you tried a different strain. And you can run through strains so quickly doing it like this. It gets, you can try a bunch, all this, one after another. And right about the time you tend to run out, because a 2x4 will pull, a good grower will pull half a pound out of a 2x4 whenever you have filled out the canopy, you're 2 foot thick. You can dry. You'll pull out about a half a pound, maybe a little bit over. But that is what you're really shooting for whenever you're harvesting your 2x4s, is about half a pound. And a half a pound, if it can't last you the 2 months, the 60 days before you're harvesting again, you might need to move it up to like a 2x4 and a 4x4. But you're like, well, I've got bigger tents already, so I can't fill it out in 2 weeks. Okay, so you can't fill it out in 2 weeks. So let's redo our equation. Let's redo our equation. Let's say it takes you 4 weeks to veg. So now you have 4 weeks in seedling. You have 4 weeks in veg. What is that? You got 8 weeks. So now you've got 8 weeks. So that means the day you flip your veg plants to flower and put them in the flower tent, it takes you 8 weeks. 8 weeks, get it centered. It takes you 8 weeks to get ready again. So the day you put them into flower, you start more seeds. So day 1 flower, day 1 seedling, same day, because it takes you 4 and 4, and now you got 8 over here. You're ready on your 8, and then you plant again. You see how easy this can be? But it all depends on you and how fast you are a grower. So that's why I can't give you an exact timeline, but I can give you a pretty good estimate. All right? Oh no, my computer shut down. I was talking too long. All right, guys, that was our, I don't know, it wasn't really a quick video. It's going to be like 15 minutes, so it's not terribly short, but it's not terribly long either. But we had, I get quite a few questions on Perpetual Gardens and harvesting every other month, and this is the quickest and easiest way to get there, and you can do it really cheap, because 2x2s are cheap, and so are 2x4s, and very quick gardens, and you can run through strains and find ones you really like real quick, and then put those in the big tent. All right. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning into the Grow Tent. I love each and every one of you. Big, huge shout out to my Patreons. You guys are all absolutely amazing.